It's like, it's not my mahalach. You know, everyone in our yeshiva, you don't have to wear that in here. That, but you know, definitely not zicher nish. You know, but whatever. You know, if you go outside to get things, then maybe I don't know. There's rules of minhag listen. So when I was in what was I saying? I was in the army.
You got fire promoted.
Oh yeah, I got fire promoted before the army. So I was learning in the mir by Rav Asher Eli, the Gadol Hador.
Speak Yiddish?
A bit so, but I was learning the Hebrew shir. They say the Yiddish shir of Asher is pretty good, but the Hebrew shir, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, I don't want to flex too much, but like Rav Asher, his Hebrew shir is like 1.5 hours a week, twice a week. He just like goes like hard lumdus. In the Yiddish shir, he reads every Rashi, every Teves inside. You know, so it's like a little bit for like beginners more. But like, you know, by Rav Asher Arieli, student of Nachum Bartzovich, student of Shmuel, I'm talking like, it's like one of my messiahs. And we'll get into it, we'll get into like my different messiahs and everything. So I was in Orayta as a madrich, but I didn't like waking kids up for shachris. I would go down Davin Vatikin at the kotel, I would run to the mir, right, with my jacket, tie, and hat. I didn't wear this jacket. This jacket I got for $5 in Shari Yashav. Sickest thing ever. I was like, Zachary, we gotta go buy a jacket for your brother's bar mitzvah. You gotta get a blue jacket. I come home wearing this jacket. She's like, where did you get that? I'm like, I got it for $5 in Shari Yashav. She's like, what? How? It was like someone lost it. It was the craziest thing. And she's like, no, it's gotta be daddy's. I was like, no, it's not. It's not? This thing on?
Oh, it's on.
Alright, cool. Oh, it's on. So, does everyone have chomishes, by the way?
Where are our phones?
Ooh, not geschmack, not galat, not. But listen. So, and it's funny. I'm so yeshivish that like I'm giving Parsha share. Like the first thing I say is you guys should bring a whole shas. And then it's like as an afterthought, I was like, oh yeah, also if you can have like the chumash, like you know, it's mad yeshivish, you know. So I was in college, right? So I was in Orayta. I would run through the Arab shuk, get to the mir, do 4 sets of 26 push-ups, to miyach Hashem, have a whole steez, get to sheer sweating, fit right in the mirror, you know. And that's what I did. It was very geschmack. Then I went to the army, right? I was in the last war in Israel, Tzukei Tad. Then I'm from New York, by the way, Long Island. Does anyone here from Long Island? Any half-their kids here? Or like Long Island? No? Anyone from here from New York?
New Jersey, but...
No! Big Chilik. But New Jersey loves to say, like, oh yes, das ist doch nicht dieselbe Sache. Nicht dieselbe Sache, but I hear.
Is Far Rockaway on Long Island?
Yeah, Far Rockaway. From what?
My sister lives there.
Yichus, nice. I say, people say, oh, you're from 5 towns. I say, no, yeah, I'm from Lawrence. Like, wow, Lawrence is like the deepest, like the dumbest. I say, yeah, it's a great place to leave. What? Yeah, Lawrence. There's a low tichluk, you know. So then I went to college after the army, and then I got kicked out of college. Then I kind of became a rapper. I mean, like I was when I was in the mir. When I was in Orayta, in the mir, I wrote my first album called Belief EP. And it was good, based completely on what I learned with Rav Aaron in his Kabbalah shir, which I wasn't really supposed to be allowed into, but like I was able to like, you know. And so I was learning with Rav Aaron, and I wrote my first album. Then I kind of took a break, army, college, got kicked out of college. I'm like, all right, let's do it. I did my second album, Hashem Enem. That's my second album. And then in Kabbalah you can they said they're cool with it, so like you can like turn it around, you can show them, you can like. You know, whatever, that's what Shteig and you know. Everything's cool. I want to get to the chumash already because like we're starting, but the beginning of Corona, right? I wrote my third album, just came out, Corona Opportunity EP. Check it out. And I've been to this yeshiva called Geula Shol. We'll talk about all that stuff. like, so we got one person from New Jersey and everyone else is out of town?
I'm like Suffolk. My family moved to New York, so now I'm like kind of down.
Where were you born?
Boston.
Boston, cool, my sister's in Boston. What else? Everyone say where you're from. If you guys want, listen, we're just chilling.
My name is Sage Freeman, I'm from Baltimore.
Alright, cool. That's the thing, right? When I say name and where you're from. Also, I'm not gonna remember anyone's name, so if, the rule is, if you guys can indulge me in this, is everyone sits in the same exact spot every year, every day, every shir, if we're giving shir, right? In this like mechitza. So you want to keep mechitza chinuch? Never mind the crumb intention, only meaning for these zebras trying to keep us from invention. Whatever. So we got Baltimore. Where else?
I'm Akiva Garner, I'm from Houston.
Nice.
Avi Linzer from Florida.
Cool.
Billy Galladay from Boston.
Cool.
Jonathan Pilsner, Miami.
Okay, cool.
Ellie Jarrett from New Jersey.
John Houston.
Houston. So we got two Houston, one Jersey, two Florida.
From London.
London. Okay, cool. He beats all you guys in terms of out of town.
I'm Malinsky from Belgium.
Wow. Okay. You just this guy's be like, yeah, from Antarctica.
Hi, I'm Ron, I'm also from London.
Nice.
I can't think of any American.
Oh yeah, what's going on, yo? I said, well, maybe we'll talk about it. All right. So we don't even have chumash. I got 2 chumashes. Maybe I'll let you guys have my mikros gedolos. You know?
We can run upstairs and grab one.
Nah, I hear, but I'll give you guys my mikros gedolos. I'm gonna use this one. You wanna? Here. I'll come out. Yotzei? Yotzei. Everyone's cool? Everyone's chilling? You know? Alright. Here you go, my dear friend. Alright. You guys can see it, you can check it out. You know, I know it's like crazy. Alright. So we're in Parshas Vayigash. So first of all, okay, I'm not gonna remember where anyone's from or anyone's name, except this guy's from New Jersey. This guy's from Belgium. Cool. I've never been to Belgium, but I know someone from Belgium. And London I've been. Alright. So I wanted to go through the Parsha with you guys. Right? And talk about some zachin. You guys know, who knows what zachin are? Stuff. Who said stuff? Yo, my neighbor. You know? Crazy. Yo, by the way, I heard you guys just legalized weed. In Jersey, it's like.
Could be.
Oh, you don't know? You've been here for a long time? I'm just saying, listen, everyone, I believe that everyone's got to be on their own path. And, the illegalization, but I'm not going to get into that right now. You know, but to make it illegal, I'm not a big fan of rules. That's why I wasn't waking kids up for chakras. I was like, yo, if they want to come to chakras, you know, we're trying to learn, we're trying to get close to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, we're trying to understand the world, trying to understand ourselves, right? Avivai, that we're chelek Eloha, right? Avivai, we are part of God. Right, so it's Parshas Vayigash, we know, and so we know in Parshas Vayigash, a very important theme is the meeting of Yosef and Yehuda, right? You got the meeting of Yosef and Yehuda, right? These two like pillars, you know, these 2 pillars of limud. You don't have to hold it. You could just pretend that.
I'm not here.
Yeah, just Shteig, you know. Cool. Everyone's. Oh, you got the thing. Right. So he who has it, that's good. He who does not, it's also good. You know. So the meeting of Yosef and Yehuda is very interesting because these are like, we know, like after at a certain point by Rechavam ben Shlomo, there was a pilug in the Malchias. They were split up, and you had like a split in Am Yisrael, right? You had the kingdom of Yosef of Yisrael. They called it Yosef. It was Yosef, and the kingdom of Judah, right? You have Judah and Israel, right? Familiar? By the way, is this shot back, guys?
Yeah.
All right. So like last year I wasn't here so much. last year I wasn't here so much. Usually, like, it's like, I know the Shana Bet guys from, like, being here in Shana Aleph, but, like, I don't know, do you guys know me? Kinda? No?
Weren't you here one Shabbos? You walked in at some point?
Very, very possible. So my name is Shmuel, by the way. I told him this story. Alright. So we have Yosef. So Yosef is talking to Yehuda, and Yehuda is recounting the story, right? And so one pasuk, which is Ezayera into the sun, which means
Very interesting.
very interesting. Rav Asher would say it like that. He would say Ezayera. Alright. So he's telling the story to Yosef because he doesn't know that Yosef knows Yehuda and all the brothers, but they don't know that it's Yosef, right? So he's telling the story, and he says in Pasuk Chavches, he says Vayetze echad meiti, right? When Yaakov said to him, like one of them left, Va'omer ach taroif tairaf, v'lo ra'isiv adhena, right? He was ripped apart, right? He says the word ach. Now ach means like, but he was, right? But we know that ach is chalak. When it says ach, it's like you're split, right? It says ach, taraf. So he was split. He was like ripped apart, but he wasn't completely. Yer Chaim says it was miyat b'treifus, right? It was like kind of, because it didn't really happen, right? It didn't like really happen. He didn't really get like, he got like a little bit like messed up, like roughed up by his brothers, but it wasn't like a full like getting like torn to shreds, right? So he says ach, like ach. The Gemara says achala. But in the first time when they're telling Yosef, when they're telling Yaakov that it says full animal came and ate him, and it doesn't say ach over there. Yer Chaim says the reason over there it doesn't say ach is because that's a reference to Eshes Potifar. The Gemara in Orayta says, in Orayta Lamed Daled Vav, you see on the sheets, the first sheet, right? And it says that, and it tells the story of Yosef and Potifar. And this isn't a shir on Parshas Vayigash or Parshas Miketz, but we need to reference it, right? So he says, over here the Orayta brings it, and he says that the reason it says ach, right? It says Roy Yosef Aseit Menu Yud Beis Shvatim. Really, you see, I underlined it. That really Yosef was supposed to have 12 tribes. You see this Gemara? See the Gemara? He's supposed to have 12 tribes. Kederach Shedim Yaakov Avinu, right? Shemar Eila told those Yaakov. Yosef, can you sit down, my brother? What? Oh yeah. It says Eila told those Yaakov Yosef, right? It says Ella sheyatzu. And this, by the way, I'm going to tell you things. Hopefully, the whole year, I'm going to tell you things that you've not heard, that's not really talked about mainstream. I'm going to tell you things like Shteig and Gemara, but like it's like maybe they didn't tell you this in like in school, you know. So why didn't Yosef have the 12 tribes? It says Kederach sheyatzu mi Yaakov. Why didn't have it? So it's Yaakov Yosef, right? Ella sheyatzu shechva zera mibein tzipornei yadov. That shechva zera. Who knows what shechva zera is? What?
We all know.
You all know?
Yeah.
You know, they know that stuff in Brussels? What about London? You know what shechva zera in London?
Like sound discharge.
Yeah, right, cool. So it's like, first of all, like that's pretty crazy, and so he got punished for that. Like, so like whatever was going on, they talk about like, was Yosef going to do melachto? Was he going to actually do his work, or was he going to get busy? You know, but also a good parish, right? Melachto, he's going to do work. He's doing, so and like the New Jersey is laughing, but Taka State and Gemara, So like he got punished for that. So it means that there's something not good that Yosef did. That and he actually lost 10 tribes because he has 10 fingers, right? And it's very interesting that we see that and like Yosef at Tzaddik, and he messed up. He did something not geschmack. And we also see by one of the Bnei Rachels or Benos Rachels, by Esther, that Esther, and she slept with Achashverosh, very not glad. Like very problematic halachically, because it was bit for Hesia, it was in public. You guys know Hesia?
Yeah.
It was bit for Hesia, it was in public. And so you say, oh, well, she was saving the Jews, she was doing all these things. In public, Harva Yavor. It says, oh, Hanas Atzman, it was for her own, it was for Achashverosh's own Hana. Still, but it was in public. And so there's a Tosfos that talks about it. I didn't bring it, I just wanted to know that it's problematic. And also in the lineage of Yehuda. Right? In the lineage of Yehuda, 4 instances, 4 iterations of like pretty krum happenings. You guys know krum? It's the opposite of from. It's like, you know. So it's pretty krum. What are the four things of the lineage of David that was like, whoa, like what happened? Like Like really like not super tznius events for them. Anyone know? Yeah, the Yehuda and Tamar. Yeah, Bathsheba. What? Lord, his daughter is nice. Moab. Craziest thing, right? Not only did she sleep with her dad, but she named the kid based on the fact that she named her dad. Moab is Me'av.
Avshalom.
Rus and Boaz, that's what I was going to say. Avshalom, what Avshalom?
Was also like involved in
Maybe, but like I was thinking that wasn't included in my 4th. I'd love to hear that at 5th. What was the Avshalom? We know that Avshalom was like doing stuff, but like Avshalom wasn't necessarily in that messianic line. What?
I don't remember the story.
Yeah, like with David.
He slept with his father's concubines, is what he said.
Oh, you said what?
He said sleeping with his father's concubines.
Ah, right. So that was
And that was in public
good,
as well.
but it wasn't right. And that was in public as well. Yeah, it's fair. But that wasn't part of the lineage of like David and like, right? So it's very interesting that we have these 2 because we know that like we have Yosef and Yehuda. We have Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, right? We have the Pilug and the Malchias. They split. And both of these ideas have this, so we see that like this mayhem and like this stuff and like people are steiging, people are growing, people are on their path. But it's interesting that the Orayta talks about that right at the beginning. I think that's a good introduction. That like on both sides, Mashiach ben Yosef lineage and Mashiach ben David lineage, we got like some stories, you know. Which is interesting to know. Okay, can you get some water, please? Water.
You want water?
Yeah, please. You just somehow like throw it through the thing, like or figure it out. All right. So the next thing that I wanted, so that's just an interesting hakdama, you know. So then, oh, thank you, bro. You want water?
Oh, I'm good, bro. I got my
You good?
juice.
Oh, nice juice. Give me the juice.
Give me the juice.
All right, who says give me the juice? Important Bakiyas. Who says give me the juice? Biggie. And then in modern day, is like not amazing. What's his name again? Travis Scott. He's good. He's no fun. Alright, so when Travis Scott says, give me the juice, right? Okay, so he goes through the thing, tells him the story, right? And then eventually, like, he hears the story and he's like, yo, like, it's like, how can I go up like with Binyamin? But you have to bring Binyamin. And then Yosef is ape, couldn't hold back. He was like, the he's like everyone out. Below Amar Ish Itai is Vada Yosef El Achiv. There was only them, right? And he told them. Reading his call back, he cried, right? Vayishma Beis Power everyone heard. Be'omer Yosef El Achiv Ani Yosef Ha'ora Vichai. V'lo Yachlu Achiv La'anoisai Ki Nivalu Mipanav. So they couldn't answer because they were so like astounded. They were astounded, right? And they said, like, they couldn't answer him. So there's Taka Gemara here in Chagiga. If you open up to the second Gemara, Right? You see that Gemara in Chagiga? So, Rabbi Elazar, you guys got the... Alright, so Rabbi Elazar, Kimata lahai kra bachi. Rabbi Elazar, when he got to that pasuk, he started crying. Lo yachlu achiv, oh my glasses. Lo yachlu achiv la'anosu. He couldn't answer him. Ki nivalu mipanav. Right? You're like, v'ma taichacha. Right? Basar v'dam. This was just like, oh man, like they were doing all this stuff, and they realized like this whole realization of like, oh, what was really happening. They had no idea what was happening, but when the realization fell on them, they were like, oh, and like they were like embarrassed, right? So if that was with Basar v'dam, right? Kach tochacha shel Hakadosh Baruch Hu alas kam v'kama, and it's interesting. Tochacha is like. It's like reproof, right? It's like they're realizing like what's actually happening, like, right? And that's what's going to happen. When in Shemayim, we're going to realize, hopefully, much before we realize this whole thing is like so planned out. But like in Shemayim, like we're going to realize, like, oh my God, it was not like we thought in this world. Like he said in Shemayim, like up is down, down is up, right? And so he said like Kal v'chomer, and then they bring another from Rabbi Elazar. So you guys hear the Kal v'chomer? That the brothers who like they had their minds blown, like, oh, this is what's really going on by Basar v'dam. Kal v'chomer, when like we get to like, right, in Olam Haba or in Gan Eden or in Yom Adin, whenever it is that we realize Tochacha v'Kadosh Baruch Hu, when we realize we're like, oh, it's going to be Alachas Kam v'Kama, that we're going to be like, whoa, can't believe that that's what was going on. But then the next thing he brings is that another pasuk made him cry, and that was with Shmuel and Shaul, when Shaul brought up Shmuel, right? And he got to that pasuk because like Shmuel was obviously afraid, right? Because it says Lahalais, Lahagiztani, Lahalososi, to bring me up, and say it came up also with Moshe. But he was afraid of Yom Adin. Shmuel was afraid, Kal v'chomer should be afraid. I just think it's interesting that they bring in Shaul HaMelech over here, because again, right, we're talking about Shaul HaMelech was from Binyamin, but we know that like these messianic lines, this Ben David, it means like kids of Leah, and the Bnei Rachel is the kings of Rachel, and they have like, those two things, and we're gonna hopefully talk more about that. But it's interesting that we see Shaul coming in, right? And we have the Tochacha, right? There's a Gemara in Eruvin that I didn't bring, but I'll just point it out. When it says Gishuna Vayigash, right? They come, and they came, right? And there's a Medrash, and the Medrash says that Itaka showed him the bris milah. That's one of the ways that he was able to prove himself. That Yosef like showed him the bris milah, and so we're like, well, how did that? Like, what was he showing? He was showing that he had a bris, but also he was showing them that he was like still holding. He was gador. He was gador be'arayis. He wasn't like chota be'arayis. And the Gemara in Eruvin and Daf Yud Tes Amud Aleph says that Abar Yisrael Shabal Bas Akum the Mashcha Orlaso, like it's compared to like someone who like brings back his foreskin or like something like that. He's showing me like, yo, dude, I still got the breast, so I'm still holding. Yosef Tzadik Yisod Olam Yisod, right? The Aver. Okay.
Osnas is probably Akum, no?
Oh, the Osnas, did she convert? Like, what was going on? What about Rivka? Did Rivka Taka convert, or since it was before? An Akum name. An Akum, no. She could be like you said. She doesn't have a Din Yisrael. But to say that she's an Oved Kochavim, you have to understand there's a difference between Oved Kochavim and Mazalos, which is like like the people like bringing their kids to Molech and like child sacrifice and like like Jeffrey Epstein, type of stuff. And we'll discuss more on that stuff later. We're not getting into that right now. But that's Akum. But then you have Nachri, someone who's like happens to not be an Israelite. Yes.
But wasn't she like the daughter of like the Kohen?
She was the daughter of Potiphar.
Right, isn't he called the Kohen?
What?
Isn't he called like Kohen? I mean, I think Rashi brings up like Cohen Gossam here being like what's called like a
Like a
like a you know like an important person.
Right.
Like child of Cohen is that like he was like a Cohen for like you know like Egyptian like.
Yeah, he was an important guy. He was an important guy. But again, like when you get into the lungs, you guys really get lumdus about it. Like, what did Abraham Avinu have a din Yisrael? I don't know. Did Abraham have a din Yisrael? So then you can talk. Well, you can klar. You know, you can klar chakira as well. He was mapil atzmo l'kivshan ha'esh. And so Abraham, like, he let himself die on Kiddush Hashem. But wait a second. A Jew, an Israelite is chayiv. Yisrael is chayiv on Kiddush Hashem. But an akum is l'chayr not chayiv on Kiddush Hashem. Like, to give up his life for, right? We're actually just learning this in Yerushalmi. We're learning Yerushalmi, by the way. In my yeshiva, we're learning Shvius, Yerushalmi. So, yeah, very crazy. So, it's, right, it's pretty cool. It says, Ha'ora v'chai, so, right, it's like, Tochacha, Yosef gave him Tochacha over here. Where's the Tochacha? So the Torah even says, Tochacha was Ha'ora v'chai. Yo, my father's still alive after all you put him through, and my father's still alive? Fine. It says Vayalu, right? El Aviv, like they go up to the father, right? Go up to my father, and this we learned in Gemara in Kedushin. I didn't bring it. Is that we learned that like Eretz Yisrael is like the highest from all the lands, right? But right now New Jersey is the highest of all the lands. Okay. Right, but I don't know, maybe enter. I don't know what's the Lakewood, yeah, Lakewood. Don't worry, we got soldiers in Lakewood. There's a Maidadika, right, so you see that Eretz Yisrael is the highest from all the land, that Gemara in Kedushin, and it says, there's going to be a day, where do they prove that Eretz Yisrael is the highest from the land? You're looking at Rashi over there, he'll tell you this, it's coming to Shtams from this Gemara in Kedushin. But you go to this Gemara in Kedushin, they don't bring it from this pasuk. They bring it from a pasuk in Yirmiyahu that says, Lo Yomer Od. They're not going to say Od Chaya Dainai Asher Halas Bnei Yisrael Mitzrayim. They're not going to say, oh well, God is so great that He took us out of Egypt. Kiim Chaya Dainai. Rather, they're going to say that like live God, right? Asher Ha'alav Asher Havias Bnei Yisrael Mi Eretz Tzafon. Right? Umikol ha'artzos asher hidachatim sham. From all the lands. Meaning this kibbutz galayos that we're experiencing right now, this is going to be such an amazing thing that it's going to overcast even Yitzias Mitzrayim. Well, the period of time that we're living in right now is going to make Yitzias Mitzrayim like, yeah, Mitzrayim is pretty geschmack, but yeah, remember when God brought Jews and Israelites back from the entire world? Back from Brussels, back from England, back from Jersey, back from Houston and Miami and other places. Well, I don't remember where this guy's from.
I'm from like right outside DC.
Where?
DC.
DC, yo, dude, Chappelle's from DC.
What?
Chappelle, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. Not like Yeshiva Chappelle. No, Dave Chappelle. Whenever I hear anyone from DC, you gotta make Dave Chappelle. Whenever I hear anyone from Detroit, you gotta give love to the rap god, Slim Shady. Right? And if anyone, listen, I say in my yeshiva, people can have any relationship with God that they want, but when it comes to rap, if a person doesn't know that M is the GOAT, so then let's talk about it, but not for now. But if there's anyone who wants to discuss that with me afterwards, we can have a long conversation about why Eminem is the greatest rapper of all time. But right now, I want to take a look at that Gemara in Megillah. By the way, you guys, is anyone here holding in like hip hop or like
Jersey guys.
Jersey?
Both directions.
Alright, it's okay, listen. When I was in yeshiva also, I took a break from any of that stuff. I was only learning Gemara for years and years. Alright, check out this Gemara Megillah on the bottom of Tez Zayin Amud Aleph. Everyone sees it? Cool. So he gave, because the pasuk says that he gave Binyamin 5 chalifas. He gave Binyamin 5 chalifas, right? He gave Binyamin in Pazuk Chavez. He gave Binyamin five jackets, right? He gave all the brothers. Look at Chavbet, Pazuk Chavbet. It says L'chulam nasan la'ish chalifos smalos. V'leBinyamin nasan shalosh me'os kesef v'chamesh chalifos smalos, right? So to all the brothers he gave everyone a jacket. You know, I don't know if this $5 jacket, probably not as nice as this, but he gave him jackets. You know, that's why I wore it. That's why I wore it also because Benny's like, dude, dress like. I said, Rebbe, I gotcha. I said, I know just the thing, and it's perfect. It's the Chalifos week, right? And he gave 5 to Binyamin. So what's the kasha? Before we even see the Gemara, what's the kasha on the pasuk? If anyone can think of one. Okay, it's good that it's okay if not, right? So he says, Binyamin nasan chamesh chalifos. He gave chamesh chalifos. Frek the Gemara. Efshar davar shenitztair bo oso tzadik yichashel bo. Right? Is it possible that the thing, like the favoritism that caused Yosef to get sent to Mitzrayim in the first place, now he's going to go back and give favoritism to Binyamin? He's going to give him the five jackets and everyone else get, right? It's kind of crazy, right? Right? That was just the reason that the whole thing happened. I was going to go right back and like show favoritism. Strange, right? So what's the Gemara answer? The Amar Rav bar Machasi says, Amar Rav Chama bar Guria, Amar Rav. He says, Bishvil Mishkal Shnei Sulaim Milaz Shahosif Yaakov Yosef Mishar Achiv Nizgalgalu Adav, because Yosef was showing Yaakov was showing Yosef favoritism. Bayardo was able to. That's the whole reason that we got to Mitzrayim, was because of his favoritism. So Amar Rebbe Binyamin, very interesting. There's Rebbe Binyamin by Yofis or something. He says Remez Ramazlo. He was giving him a hint. She'asid Ben Latzesi Ben. Eventually he's going to have a someone in his family. Sheyatzo lefnei hamelech b'chamisha levushay malchus. That goes out with five levushay malchus. Who was that? Who went out with 5 kingly clothing? Who is from Binyamin's lineage?
Martha.
Who said that? Good answer. Ronnie, where are you from?
Miami.
Miami. Okay, cool. I'm just doing places, you know. I'm just doing places this year. So good answer, Miami. So Taka is Mordechai. So he was giving him a hint. Right? Good answer. Answers the kasha. Answers the kasha. I don't know if you guys can hear me through this. Answers the kasha.
No.
No, because like what? The brothers don't know. Right? The brothers don't know that like he's giving him a remez to something. So what's pshat? So Taka, the gain. Who knows who the gain was? The gain.
The guy?
Yeah. The gain. That's how Wilson would say it. The gain. Right? And so the gain comes, and he asks. He's like, but basically, it doesn't answer the question. So says the Gra like this: that by the luchos shnios, I think it's by luchos shnios, it says luchos without a vav. And so we learned that the 2 luchos of the luchos shnios were worth the amount of 1 luach in the luach rishona. And that's because it's written, the luach rishona is written with the vav, and the luchos shnios is written without the vav. So there's no vav in the luchos. Now, this is very, like you guys have give a flip. You know? This is sometimes how they have to learn, by the way. This is sometimes how they have to learn in like the Holocaust. We were in the concentration camps, like we were like, yo, like, this thing, right? So, you guys see this? It says, L'chulam nasan ish chalifais. And how to spell chalifais? When he's talking about the chalifais of the chalifais of the brothers. Shteig, with the vav. Smalais. U'vinyamin nasan shloish me'ez gazef v'chamesh chalifais. What a diuk of the gain! Says AB says those 5 that he gave to that he gave to Binyamin, they were taka the amount. He had like one like amazing. By the way, this is Burberry, right? It's like a designer. It's Burberry. I got it for $5, but it says Burberry's. It might be a knockoff. But anyways, like he gave them a real Burberry, and then he gave to Binyamin 5 Burberry's with like the guy, like instead of a guy riding a horse in Burberry's, it's like a horse riding a guy. You know, just like those slim diukim. But so he gave him cheaper smalot, cheaper chalifais, so that he could know, so everyone knows that he's giving him a remez. We're good? We're in the clear? Nein! Because what else is Shteig in Pasuk? That he also gave him shalosh meos kesef, right? What about those? The Gemara doesn't even talk about those, right? They're like, oh, you talk about favoritism vis-a-vis the jackets, but what about the 300 shekel that he just hands him? Aren't they going to be jealous about that? Any thoughts? The only thought that I want to hear right now is that, oh, we understand the kasha. You understand the kasha?
Yeah.
We're all holding in the... So, this is taka a mahalech. This is taka a mahalech by Rabbeinu Bechaya, right? And he says like this. He's like, yo, like what about? He's like, wait a second. What about the 300? So he answers like this. He says we have a pasuk in Mishpatim, right? That when So Rabbeinu Bechaya just gives the answer, then the Torah Tamima comes and like explains what he's talking about. Rabbeinu Bechaya says no, because the brothers were all chayiv to Yosef 300. Yosef, and so Yosef, all the other brothers were chayiv to him. Yosef didn't make them pay him back, and so but Binyamin, who wasn't chayiv to him, so he gave him like the 300 because they weren't chayiv. He said, you guys don't have to pay him back, but the other brothers, why are the brothers chayiv to him? It doesn't even say. Rabbeinu Bechaya doesn't even say. Torah Tamima comes and explains this to Rabbeinu Bechaya, and he says like this. There's a pasuk that says that when you have a servant and you have a cow, and the cow injures the servant, so you gotta give 30 shekel. That's like, listen, talk about stuff. That's the pshat, and it's a pasuk, in Shmuel Chaval Lambeis, right? You had to give him 30 shekel. Says the Torah Tamima. But also, we have a Gemara in Gittin, and the Torah Tamima says it's a Gemara on Mem Beis, and I went to check it and didn't find it on Mem Beis, which I'm always doing. I'm always correcting Sfarim. I'm not trying to be like, yo, I'm always correcting Sfarim, but yeah, I have to be there sometimes. It's actually a Gemara in Gittin on Mem Dalet on an Aleph, and the Gemara says that, yeah. Oh man, okay. So the Gemara says that those 300. So if someone sells his servant to a non-Jew, so we make him buy it back because he's mafkiim from the mitzvos, right? When the servant is a servant of a Jew, so he has like certain mitzvahs he's chayvin. Sells it to a non-Jew, he's getting the mitzvah. He can't do that. He has to buy it back up to 10 times his worth. 10 times his worth. We saw it was 30, and sold him to slavery. Kum toys. What's 30 times 10? 300. Nice. Good math, guys. So then it makes, so of course they weren't going to be jealous because he was mochel to them, right? He forgave it. He forgave them, right? He said, you don't have to pay me back, but Binyamin, who wasn't there, wasn't part of the selling to him, so he gave him 300. And that's why the 300 wouldn't have been something that would make the brothers jealous. Now, our Gemara in Megillah doesn't even mention that question. Because it's such a davar Pashut that's the answer. Based on that pasuk, based on that Gemara. Stims? Good? Alright. If we have 10 minutes left, first of all, so it happens to be that today, like, Rabbi Benny's like, oh, yo, give shir earlier, because, like, you guys are hearing shir from Rav Shechter later? On Zoom? Okay, so listen, that's like Mark Norman getting like having the slot, and then like Jerry Seinfeld's there, and like he gets like bumped by like Jerry Seinfeld's like a bummer of chapter. It's a big cover. But in the future, I'd like to give shir later. That way we can have a little bit more time. Not feeling like feeling rest. But also today I was just trying to like get to know you guys, you know, saying hi. How you guys doing? You guys chilling? Alright, we got one more Gemara that I have to choose. Like maybe one more Inyan, one more Nakuda, because we got Teves. But we can talk about the Egla Rufa in a sense. You know? Like Yosef, his father is like, I think he's still alive, like he sent him a simon, the Gemara says, right? And it says they sent him this simon. He sent them this simon. It was the Egla Rufa. That's why he sent the Egla Rufa. That's the last thing we learned. Now, Egla Rufa is a very interesting thing. Egla Rufa, when does a person bring in Egla Rufa? Right, so when we don't know, when there's a death in the land, and we don't know how they died, right? So what do we do in the case of Egla Rufa?
We measure it to the closest.
We measure it by what the Pasuk says. Vayetzu alochamim v'azikenim v'akayanim. Right? They go out. Right? So it is a case where people are dead, people are dying, we don't know what it is. What do we do? What do we do? Go out. You know? I was talking to my uncle's like, oh, we're in Visa, and it's like, I'm the Vada Yishkain, and we should all stay in Visa and be like, oh, like, I was like, listen, uncle, whom I love, like, Shteig in Pasuk Vayetzu. You know, if they're dead people, and we don't know how people died, let me just tell you, we know how they didn't die. They didn't die for a bad. We know it wasn't a bad. We say we share exactly how it happened. We don't know exactly what's going on in the world right now. So it's, what's the din? Vayetzu. What's the din? Vayetzu. We gotta figure it out. Right? Now listen, there are people who say, like, no, listen, everyone's gotta have their own relationship with like their things, the different things. The mental health, very important. Especially I know people are tripping, you know. But, and listen, like, but we gotta know what the Torah says. The Torah says it's a dead body, we don't know who it is. Vayetzu. So that's the Egla Rufa Nekuta, which I thought is very important. And it's also important that he said that was the last thing he learned. Right before he goes, and he goes out for all this time, the last thing we learned is that, like, yo, like, you gotta go out. You got a dead body, you gotta go and figure it out. And you gotta figure out what's going on. And that's just the introduction to the sugya of Orayta, of, say, face this, we're easing you guys into that sugya. Just easing you in. Right, we're easing you in, I'll say COVID, 1984, right? Get it? No, 1984, George Orwell.
These kids are kids, bro. George Orwell, they don't read that anymore.
They don't read George Orwell?
We've read. No, we're not.
Their jersey doesn't have.
Ooh, okay, I got scared for a minute. I was like, "Ugh."
So it's COVID 1984 because look at what's going on and look what happened in that book and like Zel was out. But like, listen.
They legalized weed in New Jersey. He doesn't know the books anymore.
Nah, I hear. Listen, also with weed, person's got to have his relationship with weed, his relationship with Torah, his relationship with the whole. Listen, we'll talk. We're just touching the sugya, kila achariyat. We'll talk about it, you know. But right now, just egla rufa. So I had to do kevan da'asuli adenu ne'avevilsa. The haftarah. Oh, so it says the kavod achsanya, and we learn kavachomer from Mitzrayim. That Mitzrayim, they were only keeping us there to use us, and still it says don't hate, lo susayiv mitzri, right? So kavachomer, like someone who brings you in, so you're supposed to be grateful. So I want to say thank you for having me today. That was just also again kevan da'asuli adenu. I know we're almost finishing up. I'm talking about the haftarah. What's the haftarah? Who knows the haftarah this week?
Let's go.
Oh, this guy's stark. This guy knows the haftarah. Anyone else here know the haftarah? Yeah, you know the haftarah. Who did Shnei Mikra? Oh man, I love Shana Aleph guys. Or Shana Bet guys. It's a good thing I have this mechitza. We'll be like, what, Shana Aleph? So it's about the Ichud. We have this, because Yosef and Yehuda were fighting, right? They were fighting, and you know what? They were fighting through history. There's like a fight between Yisrael and Yehuda, right? And there's like these fights and these two different things. And Rav Kook, if I had more time, we can go into Rav Kook talking about the different iterations of Mashiach ben Yosef's, Mashiach ben David through the Tanakh. And if we had even more time, I would talk about after Tanakh and like going into generations. But right now, just know that like, this has been going on every generation, you know? Every generation they have their possibilities. And we'll talk about, this is also part of the sugya, part of the grander sugya. We'll talk about it and we'll shteig it as we go through the weeks, you know? But right here when they had their big fight, right? Like they were like fighting, having it out, Yehuda and Yosef. So we have the Haftorah that they come together. You know, Vayu achadim biyadai, right? They were brought together, and all of this stuff, like the destruction of Am Yisrael, that they were like ripped apart, right? Ripped apart from this destruction of what? What's at the end? Oh, they're going to come in together. Taka, my chavrusa, and dear friend, I call him in my book. By the way, when I got out of college writing that thesis, I was like, I'm going to sell more copies of my book than all your books put together. And I printed it out, and I sell them at my concerts. I'll bring it next time. So Moshe, he came today, like to yeshiva, we was chilling a little bit. Moshe Gersh says like this. He says, every chorban, is the end of every chorban is the beginning of every binyan, right? Chorban, binyan. Every chorban leads to a binyan. Taka. This guy's got the yeshivish finger. He's like, taka. Right? You got the yeshivish finger in Antwerp? Well, in Antwerp they got the two fingers. Every chorban the end of every chorban leads to a binyan. And that's taka pshat, Rabbi Isai, in why we see all this krumkeit by Yosef, by Mishpir Shep, and Yosef David. We have all this weird stuff, and arayas, and mothers, and fathers, and daughters, and arayas. Chorban, what's going on? Oh, every chorban, right? And I came on the Asali Adenu Milsa. I start my new album of Corona Opportunity. I say this board, I say, from every trauma cultivate an opportunity, and through Corona we courage to foster unity. Words greater than the etymology of eulogy, like you could be, if you choose to view the good in things. And it goes back to how we view it, and how we see things. But we see that the Chorban, we see that this fighting is mushrash, it's genetic, that's down. Joseph and Yehuda are fighting. These two different mahalchim, and we'll go into it. What's the pshat in Mashiach in Yosef versus Yehuda? What's the Indian of Yosef, the Indian of Yehuda? Rav Kook says an unbelievable word about Taka Herzl. I'm not going to say which one. I'm going to leave you guys in a cliffhanger about that. But he says this amazing words about what's the Indian of Yosef, the Indian of Yehuda, and it's mushrash. I think there's these difference, but for every chorban, the end of every chorban is the beginning Taka of the biniyah. And so we should be zochet, from all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, right? From all the crazy stuff that's going on right now in the world, which we're blindly fair. We don't know exactly what happened. We know it wasn't bad, but we don't know exactly what's going on. But we know there's crazy stuff going on. We know we're living through amazing times. And it's like it's chorban, but from every chorban, the end of every chorban is personalized. That everything that's like boom, for every trauma, cultivate an opportunity, right? And through Corona, we courage to foster unity. And Mir Tishan will be the unity of Yosef and Yehuda. It will be the eighth Yosef, it will be the eighth Yehuda. And they'll come together, and we'll rage to foster unity. And we will be able to party with the Mashiach's
At the mosh pit.
Sidkenu.
At the mosh pit.
At the mosh pit.
You guys know where the mosh? You know where the mosh pit is?
At the mosh pit.
It's the Western Wall.
Sometimes it's mosh pit. Sometimes it's. And we'll be able to be in a mosh pit and party and not be afraid of this, right? So we should be zochet. We should be zochet to be able to party and have an awesome time and have a lot of simcha. And taka, even when it's hard, even when it's like chorban right now, but the end of the chorban, we know that the end of the chorban is biniyah. We should be zochet libanot, to build a Beis HaMikdash, to build ourselves up emotionally, to be able to handle what they're throwing at us, They want us bugging in the psychological operation. They want us losing our mind, right? And so we just got to remember to always be chilling. Those are the ABCs. Always be chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on Spotify?